Okay, so this is my testimony and the story of how God has just completely changed my life, turned it upside down. I don't really know where to start. So basically, it starts a couple years ago when I was completely hostile to church. I had wanted nothing to do with it. I remember sitting in the McDonald's parking lot and fighting with my dad about how God wasn't real and how I thought it was just ridiculous how people thought that a God would have created the universe. I just thought that was so stupid, and I remember just hating it. And I remember when my stepmom first started making me and my brothers go to church, I would purposely text during the whole service or something like that so that I didn't have to pay attention to what he was saying. But so like I said, my stepmom started forcing us, so that's how I ended up in church in the first place, which thank you, stepmom. I'm really grateful for that now, but at the time I really hated it and I thought it was so stupid. And I remember having to miss hockey games and stuff for church things, and it was just, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. But so as I started going to church more, it started to kind of grow on me. I would hear a message and I'd be like, man, that's a little bit, it's kind of hitting right here a little bit, but I always kind of ignored it. It never really hit home enough to where I felt like I needed to change. Okay, so basically at this point, I think it's necessary for me to tell you about what I was like before. What was my life like before? Basically, I just, all the normal things that a teenager should do. I drank and did drugs and all the sexual things. I'm not going to go into, but I indulged in those things, and those are what I lived for. And I had an emptiness inside of me that I would have never even recognized then. And I don't know if anyone watching this understands that emptiness, that feeling when you go to bed, you're just like, what is my purpose here? What am I even doing? Why am I even living? Does anyone even care? Is this, and that's the feeling that I had, and I don't even think I recognized it. I don't even think I knew how, just the way that I was living and what I needed and what I was lacking, So started going to church, and it started to grow on me a little bit, and I don't really know why, but I decided to go to this camp called CIY. It's really awesome, but I don't really remember why. I guess it was just a God thing that I ended up going to this camp. But I just started going, and I made a couple friends at church, and but it was still a little bit awkward, and I was just kind of like the new girl, and everyone knew me from school where I obviously wasn't the church girl. So I was like, what are they thinking about me? But so I went to this camp, and one night during worship, we were singing to God, and I was just kind of, I guess I was singing, but it wasn't really from my heart. I was just kind of singing because that's what everyone did, and all of a sudden the presence of God just fell. It fell on me, and oh my goodness, I just started bawling. I was crying, and I don't even know. It was just the most unexplainable moment in my life. Everything just became so clear to me. I just realized the way that I was living, and I realized my need for God, and I realized everything that he had done for me. I think what really hit me was what he did on the cross, and how you hear about that. I mean, we all know what Jesus did on the cross. He died for our sins. Okay, yeah, I've heard it a million times. But what does that mean? Like that price that he paid, what does that actually mean in my life? And I think it all just hit me. And ever since that moment, when I gave my life to God, at that moment, I believe that was when my heart truly changed, and I truly gave my life over. And ever since that moment, I've never been the same. I've never, my life just was completely changed. From that moment on, I had to make a lot of changes in my life, and it was really hard. I didn't lose them because I still have a lot of my friends from this era, but it was a confusing time because a lot of my friends were like, why are you doing, I was all of a sudden a Christian, and I got baptized when we got back, and that's confusing for friends. It's like we're losing our best friend. I can understand why that was a really hard time for me and my friends that I had at school, and oh my goodness, it was just not fun. But I started making church friends, and I started getting plugged in at church, and I started just spending a lot of time there. And I just started growing, and I started I started realizing my purpose in life, and I started realizing there was a God who loves me, and that he's real, and that salvation is important. And I started growing more and more in love with him every single day. And to this day, I still feel like I grow deeper and deeper in love with God just every day because of what he's done for me. I mean, look, he called me out of darkness and into the light, and now I get to understand. And where was I before? I had nothing. I mean, I had a false sense of security, and I would do all these things that just didn't matter. And now I get to understand who God is. I get to have a relationship with the creator of the universe. It's like, that, how is that even real? It's not even real. And it's just such a privilege and an awesome thing. And I think that it's something that everyone needs to have. Obviously, I think that it's something that everyone needs to have. And so, from that moment, ever since I had some struggles with my friends, and I had to get rid of a lot of things in my life. You know, the alcohol had to go. There was no more drinking, obviously. There was no more smoking things. There was no more, there was no more of, in my relationships, I had to learn what purity meant, and I had to do all these things. But I'm so thankful for that. And I went through a purity conference at church, and I remember thinking that was the stupidest thing ever too. And now God is really teaching me what the definition of purity is in your life. And it's not just because he wants to punish us, it's because he knows he's trying to protect us. I mean, it causes pain when you do those kind of things. And I don't know, I just want you guys to understand that a relationship with God is more than just about rules. It's not just about, what can I do? What can I do? Because, the set of rules that you set in front of you, and it's like these guidelines you have to follow or else God hates you. And it is so much more. I mean, I just want to encourage all of you guys to just have a relationship with the person who created you, the God who created you, because that's what we're meant to be. I am going to say this because, I have never been happier in my entire life than what I am now with God. And I continue to just grow in happiness the more that I know him, and the deeper that I get in my walk with Christ. Because before I thought that I was happy, but those things are not happiness. Those things make you happy for a short amount of time, but they don't create any lasting joy. My life has purpose now, and I was just completely changed. I am completely transformed. I'm a living testimony, and I'm not saying that I'm awesome. It's all God. I could not be where I am now without God at all. And I just wanted to share this with you guys so that if any of you guys can relate to this, if any of you guys feel that feeling of emptiness, or you want to understand more about what it means to know God and what he can really do in your life. If you don't believe he's real, then look at, I could not have changed my life by myself. He was by me the entire time, and he walked beside me, and he's just been my rock. He's just everything. I hold on to him, and when times are hard, he's just right there. I can't even explain to you how thankful I am. Words can't explain how thankful I am for that kind of provision in my life, and that kind of just comfort. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully start posting more videos about certain things. And if you have any questions, just message me. I just want to encourage you to just think over your life, and think over your purpose, and think over if you really think that you know Jesus, because anyone can just kind of believe in him, but is he Lord in your life? Have you allowed him to come in and just take over things? And sometimes it's hard, because in order to follow him, sometimes we have to give up control, which means giving up things. We like control. In America, I feel like we're raised to have control. You have control of things, whatever, you put your mind to anything and you can get anything you want, which is awesome. But sometimes we want to hold on to this control, and God says, give me the control, just let me take it, because I'm going to do a better job than you ever could anyways. Let's be honest. But, so it's that giving up control can be a really hard thing, and those giving up the things in our life that seem fun. But I'm just going to tell you right now, once you create a relationship with God, those things aren't hard to give up, because compared to knowing him, nothing matters. Knowing him is the most important thing in my life, and I wouldn't trade anything for it. So once you begin to know him, and once you allow him, once you step out in faith and you allow him into your life, those things are just gonna go. I mean, you're not gonna have to, like, he's not gonna have to pry them out of your fingers. I mean, sometimes, I guess, but in certain cases, but for the most part, you're gonna give them up joyfully. You're not even gonna miss them, because those things, you're not even gonna want them. You're gonna start hating what God hates. And anyways, I guess I should stop rambling, but that's my story. And if you have any questions, you can message me, and I will hopefully continue to just post more things. And yeah, I just hope you have a great day. Bye.